Hey everybody, how's it going? My name's Paul Learman and I graduated from FCS in 2012. And since then I've been working with a number of entrepreneurial ventures and musical groups. And Mr. Johns asked me to make a quick video for you guys and sort of talk through some of the stuff that I've learned along the way of sort of carving my own career path instead of sticking to a more traditional 9-to-5 job. And I'm excited to be able to tell you some of the stuff that I've learned and some of the mistakes I've learned from, because when I was in your position, I had no clue what I wanted to do. I mean, even when I was a senior in high school, coming around the bend in like April, I still didn't know where I wanted to go to school, and I didn't know where I wanted to go because I didn't know what I wanted to do when I got there. I had no clue what major I should pursue, and much less what job I wanted after I picked a major. So yeah, I'm going to do my best to tell you some of the stuff that I've learned along the way, and hopefully it's helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, you can shoot me an email. I'll leave my email in the video. Or if you use Instagram, I'll leave my handle and you can DM me a question, or ask Mr. Johns or Miss Wickard or any of your teachers. But yeah, if you have questions, ask them, because I think that might be the most important thing that I wish I would have done differently, is just be a little more inquisitive and a little more proactive about the options that were facing me and what they were each like. So a little bit about myself before I launch straight into some of the things I want to talk about. After I graduated FCS, I started a few businesses. The first was Lexicon Media that I started in college, and that was a video production company focusing mainly on music videos and then freelance video work from clients around the world that I would meet online. So I still do Lexicon today, a little less intensely than I did back in the day when I started it. But my sort of main focus now is called Social Flip. And if you saw me in the classroom with the camera the other day, I was there on behalf of that company. We shoot promotional videos for small businesses and organizations. We do YouTube strategy, social media management, basically using the internet for people who haven't been using the internet as long or as hard as we have. Aside from that, the two other large things that I focus on are the two bands that I drum for, two nationally touring acts, one of which just signed to a label for our third album called The Wise Man's Fear. We've been around actually since right out of high school. It was 2013, so like my first year of college when I started that group up with some friends, and that's going strong. And the other group's called Whalebones, like an indie alternative rock group. And we've got actually a tour coming up pretty soon here, so a little Midwest run. But I record actively, write actively for both of those groups, tour with them, as well as run the two businesses that I'm a part of, or the two production companies that I'm a part of. And then a third business that I'm involved in is called Blackcraft Boards, and this was an idea that my little brother had actually while he was in Mr. Grass's business class in high school. Basically, it's carbon fiber longboard decks that we manufacture with a partner sourced here in Indianapolis. So yeah, that's still pre-production right now. We just had a meeting a couple months back with an angel investor who's interested. So hopefully some things will be moving and shaking with that project here soon. But all that to say, those are sort of my experiences in the entrepreneurship realm, and those are the industries that I'm a bit familiar with. But I couldn't have told you coming out of high school that I was going to be involved with those things. I had no clue. And in fact, the reason that I went into business school was because I thought, well, business is roughly applicable to just about everything, right? Like even if you are working at a hospital, like you need medical equipment sales reps at hospitals, and you need somebody to manage the numbers and, take care of all the bookkeeping at hospitals and stuff. Same with schools. There are businessmen at schools, there are businessmen everywhere you look. So I was like, you know what, I'll do that. It's sort of a catch-all, and I'm really glad that I did. I ended up graduating with finance and entrepreneurship double majors, and I've used those a ton in my day-to-day and just in sort of getting established with the entrepreneurial ventures that I'm part of. That said, I will say that the idea that you have to go to college in order to be a businessman is not true. I could have easily been involved in the same things that I am today and not have gone to college. And in fact, most of what I know today and most of what I've learned is as a result of playing music and trying to spread my musical projects as far as I could. A big thing that sort of started out my first company, Lexicon, or I guess the first one that didn't die immediately, is YouTube management and YouTube consulting and strategy. So while I was in college, I decided rather than spending a bunch of money getting music videos shot for our bands like we had been doing, it would be smart if I just learned how to shoot and edit music videos myself, and then we could shoot our own videos, edit them together, and put them out for free. And the more videos you have out there, the better chance your band has of being discovered. So started doing that, learned to use video editing software, learned to shoot cameras, all, through YouTube. I never went to film school. None of my friends at the time did, except for my future business partner, but he wasn't really involved. And so I got a good grasp on video editing and shooting just because it was something I was interested in because of the bands. And once we got those videos up and out there on YouTube, the next sort of objective became, well, how do we get more eyes on this? And through that, I picked up YouTube optimization and YouTube strategy. So while I was in college, because I'd had some success with the bands, with our music videos, I was able to perform some of the same tasks in optimization for other clients that I would meet on the internet. And so to earn some side cash while I was in college, I was flipping YouTube channels for people and helping their videos get more views. So that led me to work with some contract clients like the NCAA, Adobe Experience Cloud, the company that makes like Photoshop and stuff like that, Vertimax Training Equipment, who supplied training equipment to half of the NFL teams, and a bunch of other really cool sort of high-profile clients that I would have never foresaw myself working with. All just based on the fact that I wanted to have my bands get more views and sort of have my passion of music take off a little bit more. And that sort of leads me to an important point, that is discovering and pursuing a passion in a way that can allow you to be financially stable. Everybody will tell you money's not important, money doesn't really matter, and to an extent that's super true, but there is a degree to which you need it to survive. So money is only important until you hit that point, right? Or money is not important insofar as you are able to live. And then once you have sort of a stable basis, then money won't bring happiness. But you can't make zero money and live a comfortable life. And the sooner you acknowledge that, the better you'll be able to pursue your passions in a way that benefit you, and that allow you the freedom to do the things you want to do or to be with the people you love. So when I was in high school and college, a thing that I had a tough time doing was refining and pursuing one specific passion or even a couple specific passions. I remember wanting to do everything from being an engineer to being a professional novelist to a touring drummer, anything. Like, it was all over the board. So a big tactic that I sort of developed that was helpful for me was, and as weird as it sounds, it was letting jealousy be a sort of divining rod or a compass for me as I was going through my day-to-day. So I'll explain what that means, because it sounds kind of bad, but it's actually sort of a positive twist on a negative emotion. But basically, I would go through my day, and I was, at this point, sort of towards to the end of my high school career, I was actively trying to seek out what is my passion. How can I turn what I love to do into a job? So I need to start refining stuff. I knew I had too many interests going on to pursue everything. So as I would go throughout my day-to-day, I would pay attention to the things that would make me jealous. So a great example would be, there was a YouTuber called Luke Holland who would do these drum covers, and he did an awesome job with them. I mean, he's all stick flip tricks and playing incredible stuff. And I saw that and I was like, man, I wish I could do that. Like, I wish I could make my money just like sitting on YouTube, make a living doing nothing other than recording videos of me playing drums. Like, that'd be so fun. And that was really revealing to me, because I realized, well, if you want to do that, then that's what you want to do. And so that was sort of an indication that, okay, I should pick up playing drums seriously, and I should start actually pursuing that. And also I should start pursuing some video work, because that, like, his career path is made possible through video work. So the principle here is, use the negative emotion of jealousy or envy, whatever, and spin it around to be positive. Find out what things grab your attention and what things you wish you could achieve, and then figure out a way to go achieve them. Jealousy doesn't have to stay jealousy. You don't have to be embittered by someone's success. You can see that and be inspired by it and turn it around and, harness that wind and sort of help discover a path for yourself. So once you sort of get a sense of refining what your passion is or discovering what it is that you may want to be involved in a career sense, the next step, I think, is figuring out how do you monetize that lifestyle in order to lead a successful life financially and allow you to, have free time, spend time with the people you love, give back to charity. You can't give to people unless you're earning something, right? And if you're going to earn money, it might as well be doing something that you love. So for me, I took a hard look at music. So that's what I was heavily involved in right out of high school. That was sort of my first love. And I realized that because we had spent thousands of dollars paying videographers to shoot music videos for us, I was like, well, in the music industry, the money is in video, weirdly enough. And so my next thought was, well, okay, so how do I position myself to be the guy that people want to come to shoot these music videos? So my path ended up being, first I drove success on our own music videos and got a lot of views on some of them. And then we shot our own music videos so I could sort of put, like my stamp on the videos. And then as those got more views, other people that saw those videos in our community, so other, artists in the same genre or bands from the same state would contact me and say, hey, I saw the video that you did for The Wise Man's Fear. Could you shoot that for our band? Or could you do something comparable? And yeah, didn't take too long, but now the guitarist from my band and I somewhat regularly will fly to Boston or go to Cincinnati, and we've got sort of bands around the country that we'll go shoot music videos for, and it's a blast. It's an all expenses paid trip to go hang out with bands, that we're now friends with, shoot videos for them, and then we'll usually book a couple extra days just to run around the city or a city next door, and then we come home and make money on it. And that's, to me, is so much better than sitting in an office clocking in, clocking out, because I did that. I interned at an engineering firm for 2 summers, and it was hands down the worst job experience I ever had. And that's something that sort of caught me by surprise, because until then I thought perhaps engineering was an interest of mine, or perhaps I could enjoy being an engineer. And that sort of brings me to my next point, which is hurry up and fail. This is a quote that I read from a book called The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. And if you're interested in finding a career path and finding passion, I can't recommend that book enough. It's really, really incredible. Hurry up and fail is the idea that there's not an inflection point in your life where suddenly you will know how to do stuff without trying it before. And for me, this took shape in the first business that I started. So when I was in college, before I even started Lexicon Media, I think it was my freshman year of college, I started a food company called Cookie Bowl with my dorm mate, Dave. And basically the idea was take cookie dough, bake it in a bowl shape, serve ice cream in it, sort of like ice cream cones, but way more fun and way tastier. And we were all excited about it. We thought it was great. And we, went through all the steps. We went to the Secretary of State website and incorporated as an LLC, bought a bunch of equipment, got a QuickBooks account for accounting, and we're like, okay, we're ready to go. And then we took the next steps to see where we could start selling. And it turned out that we needed a commercial kitchen in order to be qualified by the city and the state as a legitimate food service business. And we had to pass all these health code issues, ordinances from the county and the city. And there was so much red tape. And to even be in a position where we could pass these tests, it was going to cost like $40,000. And so we were broke college kids, and we're like, nope, we got to bail. So the first company I ever formed failed before we made a single sale. It was a total wash, but it was a super useful learning experience. And it's something that I wish I would have done when I was in junior high or when I was in high school, because nothing dramatically changed from when I was a high schooler to when I was an early college kid. that allowed me to succeed at something like that, or to fail as quickly as I did. And that was a weird mental perception that I had, was that I was sort of waiting for permission when I was in high school to start something. And I'm not sure the reasoning behind that. I think maybe it's because I've been told that college education was super crucial to whatever job you get, which is only partially true. But for whatever reason, I was definitely waiting for permission to go try something and to go start something. And I wish I hadn't. One of my favorite success stories is the guy that wrote the Aragon book series that I read when I was in junior high and high school. Loved the series. His name's Christopher Paolini, and he started writing those books when he was 15 years old. And when I heard that, I was like, well, why am I waiting to be like a 30-year-old novelist? Like, why would I not just start writing now? So that was pretty impactful on me, and just the idea that there is no cutoff. Nobody tells you when you can start something except for you. You just do it or you don't do it. And on the subject of doing things and just pursuing them instead of overthinking or waiting for the stars to align, because it never does. There's never perfect timing. You either do it or you don't. I found something that I considered to be a good methodology for getting stuff done, in a way that you can get stuff done that's, I'm not going to say fail-proof, but when you fail, the next time you try it, you will do better. Essentially, the system that I discovered was a mixture of a business class term, SMART goals, and sort of my own personal experimentation. But essentially what I started to do was I would approach a goal backwards. So I would, let's use an example. So if I want to be a successful author, so what I would do is say, okay, if $60,000 a year is my goal that I'm going to define as being a successful author, then that means I need to make $5,000 every month on novel sales, which breaks down to about $12.50 a week in sales, and that's reduced to about $180 a day. And then if I'm selling books at $20 a book, that's about 9 books a day. So in that way, I know day by day what my success metric is, and if I have a successful day, I can see that, and if I have an unsuccessful day, I can also see that, and I can make adjustments to adapt and change that to a successful day in the future. But it doesn't just stop there. So I can apply this same thinking to the process of developing or creating something, right? So if I have a goal to write a book in 3 months, and I say, an average novel is 240 or 250 pages, that means all I have to do is write 3 pages a day. And at the end of the day, if I wrote 3 pages, I get a pass. And if I didn't write 3 pages, it's a fail. And through this way of sort of hyper analyzing these micro goals that are worked backwards from the ultimate goal, every time you fail, you know why you failed, and you can work at preventing failure in the future. So you can make adjustments and fix it. And eventually, if you fix every failure along the way, because you know what it is and you know how to fix it, you almost can't help but succeed in the end. So I sort of had this realization, again, reading the 4-Hour Workweek, and it changed a lot about my process and about how I approach things. It used to sort of arbitrarily be, well, I want to make an album with my friends, and maybe it would happen, maybe it wouldn't, or it would take 2 years or something like that, and it extremely long, arduous processes. But now when I approach things, if I say I want to make an album with my friends, what I'm really saying is I want to release an album, so have it uploaded, have press release done, pre-sales, everything like that done by a certain date, which means a month beforehand I need the masters in my hand, which means I allot 2 months for mixing and mastering, which means the recording process takes from this month to this month, and I chart out the entirety of a goal working backwards from the end result. And if you do that, you can really apply that to just about anything. So if you say, I want to figure out what I want to do for a career by the time I graduate school. Well, okay. If you say college applications close in, March or whatever, so that means a month beforehand, I want to have all my applications submitted, which means, 2 months before that, I need to figure out what schools I even want to apply to, which means I need to do my research for that the month prior to that. And you can sort of in your calendar mark out the metrics for success and see if you're meeting those. And if you're not, then you see exactly where the process breaks down and where you fail. and you can fix that and you can try again, and you'll do better the next time. So the last thing that I'm going to leave you with is that it's super important to right now start trying to get as much experience as you can in different things. And not to say that you should be getting experience in the job that you're going to be, in whatever job field you're going to end up in, because you don't know that yet. Like, you can't know that. It's going to change before you graduate, more than likely. But I'm saying just get general experience at all. So if you have a chance to job shadow, take that chance. If you can ask somebody about an industry who's in that industry, like if you're interested in teaching, you have teachers at your school you can talk to, which is super helpful. If you think you're interested in engineering, I thought I was a while back in school, talk to some engineers. Chances are, between you and your parents and your teachers and your classmates, you know somebody in most fields. So just explore and discover a bit, because it's just as important to figure out the things that you hate as it is to discover the things that you like. I knew kids in college who lived out the horror story of going through years of education school. So they were training to be teachers, and then their senior year they would be paired with classes for a semester for, essentially clinicals for school. I don't know what you call that, demo teaching. And then they'd figure out they hate kids, and they would bail on it, and they would waste 3 years of their lives and a lot of money to figure out something that they could have figured out when they were in high school if they had just gone and volunteered at a daycare. So if it's something that you think you might be interested in, find a way to test the waters. There's always a way to either talk to somebody or to get practical experience in the field without committing yourself to a job or committing yourself to an academic career course. So that's really all I've got to say. Thanks so much for listening. And again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to email me or talk to Mr. John so he can put you in contact. And I hope maybe you've been able to learn something, if not from me, certainly from one of your guest lecturers. That's a really cool opportunity you guys have got. Thanks for watching.